All right. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Board of Selectmen meetings for Tuesday, November 4th at 7 p.m. Could we stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Number 3. I don't have any chairman announcements. And go forward from there. Number 4. Citizens Forum. Anybody wish to speak on anything that's not on our agenda? Okay, seeing none, go forward. All right, entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mike, second by Ross. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Perfect. Number 5, St. Dennis Church, one-day liquor license, application and possible votes.
Just a quick reminder, because you have a member remote, all votes must be rolled.
Yep, appreciate that.
We're having an annual free pasta dinner for our parishioners, during which we offer wine and beer for sale for them. We limit it to 2 drinks per person, and we expect probably about 100 people at the maximum. We've been doing it now for a bunch of years now, yeah.
It's cool. All right.
Several times.
Yep.
Yep.
And you got that scheduled for Saturday, November 15th?
Correct.
From 4 p.m. to 10 p.m.?
Yep, right after the Mass on Saturday. Pretty early, actually.
All right.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion by Tim, seconded by Mike. Roll call vote.
Patrick, aye.
Vote aye.
Stevens, aye.
Smith, aye. Davis, aye.
There we go.
Make a motion to approve the St. Dennis Church one-day liquor license.
Second.
All right, motion by Mike, seconded by Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Roll call.
Patrick, aye.
Vote aye.
Stevens, aye.
Smith, aye. Yeah, I caught
There
it.
we go.
Davis, aye.
There we go. 5-0. Good deal. All right. You're all set?
you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Number 6 on our agenda, Douglas Common Preservation Society, holiday lights, celebration, one-day entertainment license, application, and possible votes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Bonnie LePage, 39 Maple Street.
Hey, Bonnie.
Boreski, 76 Northwest Main Street.
Hello, Lynn. Great.
We had a discussion with the town departments prior to this meeting. So after the results of that meeting, we've decided to modify our plan somewhat from what we presented before. We filed the application for the use of town property and the entertainment permit with the town. We met with the fire chief regarding the arrival of Santa Claus via the fire truck. We met with the police chief and the DPW regarding parking plan and the police detail. We've arranged for a school bus and a driver for the shuttle from the highway parking lot to the common. The bus should accommodate approximately 47 people. That would be 2 adults to a seat or 3 children to a seat. The shuttle bus will be available starting at 4:30 and run till 7:30. We have handicap parking on Common Street and in the church parking lot. All others would park behind the VFW on Route 16 and take a short walk to the Common or use the shuttle. Santa Claus will now arrive at 5:15 as opposed to the 5 o'clock. So that will allow for photo ops with Santa and reindeer prior to the carolers starting. Okay. So Santa Claus is going to be up by the reindeer, not at the gazebo.
Okay.
The gazebo tree lighting will be at 5:45. And then from 6 to 7, the Very Merry Dickens carolers will be in the gazebo, and we have arranged for sound equipment for this year. So that should make it a little better Last year, the children were all around the gazebo with Santa Claus, and it was really hard to hear the carolers unless you were right up front. So we've taken care of that issue also. Refreshments will be served in the meeting room of the First Congregational Church. The restrooms will be available at the church, and they are handicapped accessible. The other issue is the liability insurance, and it runs from November 21st, 2025 to November 21st, 2026. We've made arrangements to prepay the premium, but they won't issue the certificate until the effective date. So Betty Ann McCullum will be picking it up at the agency either the 21st or 22nd and hand delivering it to the town administrator. So that's, I think we've covered everything. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or?
The cemetery, is that going to be blocked off?
Definitely going to be blocked off.
I just got to ask. You know.
Yeah, we talked to Adam about that, and they will block it off with their signs, and as they will block off all of the roads, like coming from the reservoir, coming down, like they did for the hummingbird. And the last thing was the hummingbird festival. Get confused where we are. Are we hummingbirds? Are we scarecrows? What are we?
So we did try to make sure that this year that we improved the way things were held last year. Every year we learn from the previous year. So I think this year it's going to be a lot more organized for everybody. And we did file for a permit for entertainment with Lisa.
And all the paperwork's here, we just need the updated COI once you get it. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. And you're using the VFW parking as well for overflow?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And
we talked to Adam about that, and he said he'd make sure that there were no piles of mulch or any other surprises so that we could maximize the parking there. So people have an option. If they want to take a walk and avoid the shuttle bus, that's where they can park, unless they're handicapped, and then they'll be up nice and close. So we do have behind the church in their lot, and then we have along Common Street one side. So that should, I think, be ample for handicap.
Yeah, it's reasonable. Perfect.
The shuttle starts at the highway barn and
At 4:30.
at 4:30, and then it drops people off.
It will drop people off. So basically, I mean, it's so close, we should be able to accommodate the majority of attendees parking down there and shuttling up. And it will probably be staggered arrivals anyway. People with little kids will want to take in Santa, and we've allowed for 45 minutes before anything else starts so that Santa can have all his fire truck commotion going on and make a lot of noise and have fun and be up the other end of the common. And then when we start with getting the tree lit and the carolers, it will be more people coming in for that who don't have children. And I think it will work out pretty well.
Is there going to be a sign at the highway department just to let them know that shuttle parking here?
We can arrange to have one.
Yeah,
and
I
we
think
also have volunteers who will be down there directing people where to park their cars and where to get the bus.
It just makes it easier when people see the sign. And I know we got that flashing sign, and now it's got a creativity on signs, so definitely can make it well work.
Okay.
What about people crossing the street by the cemetery?
We have a police detail, so they'll be assisting with safety to make sure people get safely across the street.
Good deal.
Anything else?
I think you got anything else?
Where do you envision the drop-off once they leave the highway barn? Like, how does the bus make its way back to the highway barn?
The bus is going to circle around the common and come back down and pick up the next batch. And we'll leave space so that they can drop off safely on the side of the road.
All right, so we're not closing roads?
No.
Okay.
No, but the police will be there too, directing, and Adam mentioned that everything would be with signage and cones so that people would not be parking where they don't belong, so it would leave it open.
Sounds really neat. But a concern I have is they call it the audiovisual guy, the speaker guy. Can he amp
what?
up the music?
Oh, no.
No, I want you to. Yeah, I mean, you might as well turn it up if we're paying for it, right?
The Very Merry Dickens Carolers, I don't know if you were there last year, but they're an a cappella group, a group of 3 carolers, and there's no real music in the background. It's what we're doing is just providing mics this year, and that way with the speaker, people will be able to hear them, because last year we had people standing in a little circle really close to the gazebo, and with the traffic and everything going on and people talking, you couldn't hear the carolers.
Yeah.
So this year, the mic should make it much better.
Cool.
Perfect. Good.
Always aiming to improve.
Yeah. Good.
It's lovely.
All right.
So if you're looking for one, Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion that we approve the Douglas Common Preservation Society's holiday lighting celebration and approve a one-day entertainment license for the date of November 29th.
All right, motion by Tim, seconded by Mike. Roll call vote.
Patrick, aye.
Bone and I.
Stevens, aye.
Smith, aye.
Davis, aye.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you, Lynn.
Great, thank you very much.
for coming, Bonnie.
And I
Nice
hope
seeing
you
you.
come and join us this year, all of you.
Yep, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, next up, Fire Department Union MOU for military leave contract revision and possible votes.
Chief.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Evening.
Yeah, folks.
I'll let Deputy Chief Manning speak on
Excellent.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So the fire union has proposed changes to their contract potentially allowing members of the armed forces to have approved military leave count as time worked for the purposes of calculating overtime. Essentially, right now, the fire union works a schedule of approximately 2,912 hours annually, and with that schedule, there's some built-in overtime for our full-time firefighters. We have a member who serves in the National Guard and trains about 1 weekend a month, and then the normal 2 weeks a year. Occasionally, these training days will overlap with her scheduled shifts, and by allowing her military training time that coincides with her scheduled shift to count as hours worked, we ensure that she remains eligible for the same built-in overtime as her coworkers. We appreciate the service that she provides to the country. She's a flight critical care paramedic, so she also brings that experience back to the town of Douglas, and this is a change that we as management support, and we would like to see this go through.
Question, you said 2,900 hours a year, and is that regular hours, straight time hours, or is there any of that overtime?
Some of it is overtime, so basically the way it looks is overtime is based on a 28-day work cycle, so members earn overtime if they work more than 212 hours during that 28-day period. And typically benefit time such as vacation, sick, personal, etc., does not count towards those 212 hours. And as of right now, military time also does not count. So this change would essentially allow her military time to count as hours worked, so as long as that military time coincided that the hours that she was scheduled to be on shift.
I support the idea. I'm asking the question specifically just to make sure that other employees in town don't get afforded the same benefit. I don't know if we have any other military people employed in the town, so.
I can't speak on other.
I know you can't speak about that. That would be a matter question, but that's the only reason I asked you about if the 2,900 included overtime hours.
This schedule is unique. They work more hours than perhaps other employees within our system. So to the best of my knowledge, what I was going to say is I don't believe this applies, but Matt could corroborate that.
Yeah, no, this is going to be unique to this contract because of the schedule that firefighters work, and we pay overtime to other employees based upon their classification under the Fair Labor Standards Act. So, to the best of my knowledge, we don't have anybody else currently serving in any other department of the town on this level of activity. It might be reservists, it might be National Guard, but we're not working like this. So, but police officers, it's over 40, office workers, it's over 40, firefighters, it's over 50.
Thank you.
Hal, you do me a favor? Hal, can you mute your Zoom until you're ready to speak? We're just getting some feedback here.
Slight echo.
Sarah can help you all with that.
Yeah, he's got it.
There he goes.
But in no way, shape, or form was I trying to mute you. Directly.
It was just requesting.
Yeah. It was driving me bonkers. What are we talking about?
Yeah, we'll get back on point.
Yeah.
Is there, I just said when I read through it, I thought National Guard is part of the armed forces. Is it just has to be spelled out differently? Just because the main armed forces is thought of like Marines and Army and stuff like that.
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
I was just when it was written up, I thought I would have taken armed forces covering all service people, right?
Armed Forces was never in there in the contract. We're adding it.
Okay.
So yes, you're right. It would count under that umbrella.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Okay.
Yeah.
I was that's why I was just trying to figure it out. Okay. Yeah. So no, I appreciate the clarity and stuff. Perfect. Any other questions? All good. Entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to support and approve the fire department's request for a revision of the union MOU for military leave contract.
Second.
A motion by Mike, second by Tim. Roll call vote.
Fitzpatrick, aye.
Bone night.
Stevens, aye.
Smith, aye.
Might mute him. Unless he has sign language.
He's doing it.
Hal, hit the space.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your work. All right, number 8, discuss with the town moderator review of the warrant for the November special town meeting set for November 17th, 2025.
Hello. I think this should be a pretty quick meeting. Not much on the agenda.
Introduction?
So let's start with Articles 3 on,
Yep.
and then we'll kind of get into the nitty gritty. Article 3 seems pretty straightforward. Article 4, obviously the number that jumps out is, bless you, $764,000 that I'm guessing is unencumbered from previous projects. Bless you again. Is there a reason why that one and the electrical upgrade, there was so much money left over?
Okay, so the 763,000, that includes the I believe it's 208 that's being.
That includes the 208?
Okay, so actually what we're looking for is around 560,000.
Okay.
That's what we voted on at capital, just for a rough number, not the exact penny. The last time it went out to bid, the fire department improvements, HVAC and electrical improvements, which dates all the way back to 2021 when we had the lightning strike. The bid came in at $992,000 because of the general contractor provision. It kind of stepped on the numbers quite a bit and inflated the number. So we had to go back to the drawing board, and then $300,000 of that monies, there was $444,000 that was already been encumbered by the town meetings. There was another $300,000 that was appropriated from the ARPA funds, but they had to be obligated by December 31st, 2024, and we missed that date, so we took that, well, the town administrator took that money and put it onto the Depot Street project to offset the free cash amounts over there.
So is it?
That's why the number, it looks like it's jumping back up. It's just trying to get back to where we are. So we're trying to appropriate about $1 million in total for the renovations, but the scope of work is being reprogrammed by the administrator, and that number should come down.
Okay. Let's see, Article 5. Was there a new hire, just overages? Something else I'm missing? For the increase in expenses?
Well, nobody anticipated you asking that question, and the finance director is not available to answer it. So, I don't know.
Okay.
But really, this is a cleanup that works the same way as the rest of the cleanup in this warrant, where if they're ahead of their budget, they have the ability to move retained earnings over to cover the budget.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume, for the sake of discussion tonight, that this was fully vetted by Gene and reviewed with Bob Sullivan, and this is what it means.
Yeah, I just always like to anticipate the questions so that I can know. So if you just wouldn't mind having Gene shoot me an email, or if you want to shoot me an email, just let me know. I'd appreciate that. So Article 7, I think that's pretty straightforward. I know that's something, I'm guessing that project is kind of moving forward. I know it's something that kind of the economic development's been talking about for a good bit of time now. So I'm guessing this is just kind of another step in that process. Would that be a safe assumption?
Yeah, the ZBA had a public hearing and voted on a height variance, and then this is the overlay, which basically makes so you don't have to go back or reapply for a special permit every time, so it makes it easier.
All right, and they still have not accepted my suggestion to put a water ski lake in the middle?
Well, they're working on that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
figure out where to locate it.
All right.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
trying to figure out where that goes with the Mumford.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Going to
Just
start at Charles Street, I think, and go down from there.
doesn't have to be that big. I'm also guessing that, I'm making a lot of guesses tonight, but Article 8, that's voluntary. Yeah.
Oh, there's Cheryl.
Hello.
Hi, Cheryl Radiant Treasurer. I just wanted to make you aware that we may need to pass over that article. We're waiting for a title exam.
Okay.
So, but it is a much cleaner and easier way to take a tax title property. The taxes owed are almost just about as much as the assessed value of the property.
Okay.
And it does abut town land, so.
Yeah.
Is there, I mean, if I'm picturing it right, isn't most of that wetland?
It is.
Yeah, it drops down and
Goes right to the river.
Yeah, behind the sewer plant, though, it's up higher.
Oh, it goes all the way back there.
Yeah, it goes. It's a big 22-acre chunk.
Okay.
That's not where the car wash is going.
No. But
Enterprising soul could water ski.
Yeah, so we could, I was going to say.
this is where you'd launch from.
Gotta start somewhere, Keith.
Yeah, that's fine. I will start right from the discharge. I do not care.
There you go.
If I grow a third appendage, whatever.
Make sure your
Like,
dry suit is tight.
Yep.
I actually did not use a dry suit this year. I wimped out.
You?
Yeah, I did. I wimped out. I'd stopped early this year. I was tired of getting hurt.
That was it on 8. You don't have it?
Yeah, no, that's it. So,
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Cheryl, do you know when you'll make a decision on passing over?
By the 17th.
Yeah, I'm hoping the title exam will come back, but it's a very lengthy title exam. And in order for us to accept it, it has to be free of all other liens.
Okay.
And we have to make sure that the person who owns it really owns it free and clear.
Yeah.
So, I would say within 2 days before town meeting, I will let you know.
Okay.
Okay?
No, 2 days is fine. That like 2 days is fine. Because that's not like, obviously I've already started making the slides for this meeting just because it is complex to say the least. So a pass over on something that simple, 2 days is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Article 10,
Skip a 9?
yeah,
That's, all right.
yeah.
Article 10.
I mean, and you watch, right? Like this is what happens at town meeting. Is there'll be, it's like $4,500. We need 3 hours of discussion on that. The million, no problem. All right. Anyway, it's always those things that trip you up. I need a map for Article 10. I need a map for Article 11. I need a map for Article 12.
Okay.
My question on Article 11, I'm not sure how many of you can answer, is what happens if Article 11 does not pass?
So this is more about the funding source. I will have Rich Bowen prepare an answer for you in preparation for town meeting. But if the court should order us to execute its judgment, then we'd have to come up with the resources to do it, to be compliant. But that's an if. That's if.
So a judgment has been made, but we have not been ordered to act on the judgment? Is that a correct Cliff's Notes?
That's where we are. The court in the last hearing withheld any further action because the town asked for time to get this past town meeting.
Okay. Give me a proponent speech on this, on that one.
This one?
Yep.
Well,
and I apologize for putting you on the spot on that, but like there's scope questions involved, and I'm just very curious about how into the weeds that one could possibly get, as far as what will be allowed in discussion at town meeting.
Okay. So for over a decade, the town has been sort of a silent party to litigation, a third party joined by the neighbor. The zoning board did not grant relief for this lot to be developed because it had insufficient frontage, and the building was built anyway with a building permit that was later vacated by the court. So for all intents and purposes, this structure was built on a non-conforming lot in contravention to the zoning board's opinion and the necessity of a valid building permit. So work ceased. The neighbor sued. Now, the complicated issue is the zoning board had ordered the building to be demolished, but there was no specific enforcement in that judgment directing the town. It was the zoning board. The zoning board's order to demolish the building was upheld through several rounds of appeal, but the landowner never saw fit to comply with the zoning board's order. Then the neighbor was successful in their litigation, and this is where the town became actively involved really over the last year and a half in the case, because the court and the town, frankly, sought the authority for the town to do the demolition if the owner was not going to comply. So that's where we are now. The town has the authority to enter and to demolish the property to get compliance with its own decision after all appeals have now been extinguished. The proponent speech from the policy point of view is the town of Douglas and all of the communities across Massachusetts have their rules and regulations with respect to land use. And many of our citizens who willingly comply with the law experience an expense to do so. To allow someone to ignore the land use regulations of the town and do whatever they want is not a valid way to defend the authority of the town. If you spent 50 grand reconfiguring your lot through engineering and buying a piece from your neighbor and all that so that you can come into conformance, and somebody else got away with building a house on a non-conforming lot, how would you feel? What is the credibility of the town government at that point?
So the follow-up to that is going to be, at the time the building was built, was there a valid permit?
No. So this is the sticking point. Just because you got the illegal permit from the building commissioner, the court vacated that building permit. The building commissioner had no authority to issue a building permit for that parcel because the zoning board had already denied relief. The fact that she did that got her in big trouble with the ethics commission, and she paid a fine. And subsequently, for other reasons, didn't work here very long after that anyway. But this is one of those things. I don't like throwing these terms around real loose, but I am a Rhode Islander. There's a time when you got to stand up for what's right and be fair to the whole community and not let someone who is wealthy or influential get their way with the rules and the rest of the community be damned. That's not an okay thing. And it took 14 years of appeals from a well-heeled and influential person to finally get to the legal conclusion. Now the land court is tapping the desk saying, what are you guys doing? Tear this thing down. So the only reason why we got reprieve is we said we needed to have town meeting approve the funds, because I can't let a contract without the funds.
Would there be follow-up recourse from the town to recoup those funds?
Yes. So the judgment of the court, which I did forward to you, it may be worth a slide. The town is authorized to exercise the authority under Chapter 139, Section 39A, to lien this property and use that lien to recoup the cost of the demolition, including converting those costs to the tax bill, which is an interesting enforcement mechanism because, as we all know, you can't get licenses and permits if you have an outstanding tax bill.
You also can't dispense with the property until...
Accrue interest, right. Right, and so if an abutter wanted to buy the piece of property, the lien would have to be satisfied. The proceeds would come to the town until they're sold.
Keith, I think it's a good question. I think it's probably also important to highlight the fact that for 13 and a half years, the town has really taken a let these two fight it out, and we've come to the end of the road, and there's no other play. It's like checkmate. This is just what has to be done.
Yeah. It's the question, that I mentioned of scope was just the discussion that we just had, which is like, how far back into the weeds do we go, to say, well, this was why, that we need to pay for this, and what the mechanism is for us to possibly go back after it. So, yeah. I appreciate that. Like I said,
I know there's been some discussion casting doubt on whether the property has any value. And I think, to be blunt, that's an inane conversation. So I live in Westport. Let me tell you what a patch of soil costs if you're close enough to see water. It's valuable to someone, either as a place to throw a kayak in the water or to have a picnic or just park their car so they can walk somewhere they want to go. But the notion that real estate next to water doesn't have sufficient value is absurd. It really is.
You could launch your boat and go water skiing.
Yeah, you could, water skiing. Well, now there's a prospect, right?
Yes. Yes. There's
So, yeah, I think if if you're good, can we, I think, from Article 3, I mean, this, usually we speak up, I'll help you speak on behalf of the articles. Do you need to, Article 3 is pretty well self-sufficient, but I guess we usually, anybody want to take a certain article during this meeting? Weigh in on?
Take capital.
You want to take capital, number 4, Mike?
Sit around, stuck in the middle of it. Take it.
Okay.
Are there clowns to the left of you?
That's right.
Jokers to the right?
Sorry, Matt.
I've been called much worse. I'll be home soon.
Ross, you want to take any of these articles?
I'll take 3.
You want to take 3? Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and so I anticipate doing this the same way that I have been, which is accept a motion from the floor. You know, we'll see if there's any discussion on it. And if there's not, then we move on. If, you know, and if there is, then...
Anticipate some on the capital one.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, because it's
Sure.
the same thing as you look at it, you're looking at the gross number.
Yep.
But then when it's broken down, you start to understand it.
Yep, absolutely. You know, so, you know, we'll go with that. You know, I think that system has been working. I think it expedites, you know, like I continually try to say, my goal is to move efficiently through the things that don't warrant or need or people want to discuss in order to leave more time for the things that they do.
Yep.
So having people shuffle around, you know, to make motions and all that stuff, it's good pomp and circumstance, but not a very efficient use of time.
Yep. Sure.
So with that said,
Just trying to make sure we get all the articles covered or whatever else.
Yeah, the list right on the front page.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if everybody else.
Pretty much got them.
All right.
We'll meet
You want me later?
day before.
Yeah.
Or
That sounds good.
were there any articles I missed?
Nope.
No.
Other
We're
than
good.
one?
Covered.
No, we're not good. We still have 1 and 2.
Well, yeah. I mean, the town business ones.
So, and I just want to get this out there right now. We are pushing the limitations of what the school can handle.
of the what?
Of what the school can handle.
Okay.
And 10 years ago, I would have had major reservations about personnel running the behind-the-scenes stuff. That is not the case anymore. You know, between the people they have running the AV and the Douglas Cable, we've got a good group. That said, it's not built for an overflow. And to make sure that you are enfranchising, I'm not sure that's a word. If somebody wants to look that up, let me know. Voters and not disenfranchising them, you need to make sure that you have the facilities for everyone to be able to appropriately participate in the meeting. There's obviously a potential for an overflow here. I'm hoping that does not happen, but we're trying to make plans to do so. And I'll tell you, the overflow situation, Douglas Cable spent a lot of time with the school trying to figure it out, and there's no good solution. It's just, it's technologically speaking, rooms just don't talk to each other. I mean, you know, you're talking like old BNC cable and, you know, stuff that just can't do it.
Can't you just set up a Zoom meeting?
Yep. Doesn't work.
Really?
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. So we will have a Zoom meeting, but to have proper communication between both rooms to where you can have a speaker in a separate room, being called on from this room, speaking into this room so that there's appropriate communication between the two. There's feedback loops that were not able to be overcome. And I know that Douglas Cable is still working on that as we speak, as far as like trying to find an acceptable solution. So what we have right now is just kind of the best of bad solutions. And I'm still in my head trying to figure out if we have voters, registered voters in the overflow room, how we're going to recognize them. Some towns have speaker lines. That's horrific. Where you would, have people line up that want to speak. So now you're disrupting everybody coming out. If somebody wants to speak from the middle, right? Like you're moving over people, it's bad. If somebody wants to speak from the other room, you're talking about, hey, come join us in the other room. Walk over. Still, like I said, that. Go ahead.
What's the percentage of the seats on the non-resident section?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yep, I'm getting there. Right. So that was all a long way of saying we're going to try to accommodate as much as we can for this meeting. If in the future we're looking at something like an override, I know we try not to use the O word, but we would, one, at a minimum, need to hire a professional company to come in and run monitors and AV and all that other stuff. Or we do the Uxbridge solution, which is we find a bigger location for the meeting. That is a conversation offered today.
Yeah. Where's your thoughts on the overflow? Would that be the cafeteria?
Yes, it will be the cafeteria.
Because I wasn't sure if, and then the other alternative would be the gym, right?
It will be the cafeteria.
Yeah,
Well, the non-resident section, if they weren't in there.
Will you let me get there?
Well,
I said I was going to get there.
I want to go home.
Okay. Then let's get there. So to start with, only registered voters will be allowed into the main room.
At least for the first three.
Man, I had this whole thing planned out, and you keep trying to take shortcuts. I don't
it's
like.
Keith's night.
He's hungry, man. He's hungry.
It's Keith's night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like give me some time. So, only registered voters. What I'm asking you to do as a body is tell me who you need there for the first three articles. And my thought is let's extend the town administrator's desk in the front, so that that who's going to need to answer questions, whether it's planning board or whether it's building inspector or board of health or whoever. And at least for those three articles, they can occupy an extended table in the front. That gets rid of some people. School, non-registered voting, firefighters, police, that would normally take a seat and aren't there to protect and serve. Overflow. Children. Overflow. Like anyone who is not a registered voter. And I know that a lot of people think that open town meeting is open. It is a legislative session. And the legislators of the legislative session are voting members. And even when we give at the beginning of the meeting where we say, is there any dissent to allowing outside people to speak, that actually even includes non-registered voters. So that will be overflow. If we decide that there's plenty of space, we can welcome people in, and then we'll have the meeting that way, as we normally would. Does that answer your question on, like, kind of what we do with people?
Quiet, I was paying attention. No, I didn't. I do want to explain why I brought that up to you, just for the benefit of the, for Article 1 and 2, just so it's clear. There's been a lot of discussion, and you can clarify it as to when can an article be recalled for, or reconsidered. Can you explain that?
Yep, that's on my list as well.
Okay.
So first of all, yeah, so you're going to get a little bit of my rant, which is, and a few people have heard this one already, but for Articles 1 and 2, if you want to leave after, you can leave. That said, I consider it the equivalent of leaving a shopping cart in the middle of Walmart parking lot. You don't have to return it, but basically what you're saying is, I've done what I need to do, what affects me, and now I'm going to leave running the rest of the town to everybody else because I got done what I needed to get done. That said, I don't play games with reconsideration. Reconsideration is not when, oh, I think the quantum of vote shifted. The purpose of reconsideration is there was new information that was not brought up during discussion, and I think it is pertinent that we reconsider what we thought. If that happens, then it is well established in our bylaws that, and I should have brought the bylaw with me, but it has to happen before the next article is taken.
Correct.
Okay. After that, it's in stone.
Yep.
You're not going back. So, no shenanigans. Well established. So, with that said, Articles 1 and 2 are wordy, to say the least. And that is not a judgment on whether they should be or shouldn't be. That is just stating a fact for how we're going to deal with it.
Can I just go back to that? Why? I don't understand the question. Why?
What was my, it was just for clarity. So
there's
in order to reconsider an article, you have to do it before the completion of the following up, right? But then the moderator has to allow you to even reconsider it, and you have to have good reason to reconsider.
Yeah, it just, I don't know how to leave town.
It's one of those things that has worked its way into town folklore.
Yeah. No, and we discussed it a couple meetings ago. It has, Douglas actually did the right thing by saying as soon as Article, in this case, let's say Article 3 gets picking up to discuss, those are fixed and, locked in stone and done. But I can tell you in other communities that until the meeting's over with, you have the right to reconsider it until at any point of the meeting.
Yeah.
So, again, the overseers of Douglas. Yeah. So someone back in the 1920s actually, whenever they put it in, put it in the way it should be. Which is put it in stone and it's done.
Yep.
So
yeah. Like I said, it is. People use it for shenanigans. And that's. Yep. You take that for what it's worth. So Article 1 and 2, my plan right now is, especially because of the amendments, so normally what we do is we say any amendments need to be done after Q&A. And that's not how we're gonna roll this one.
Okay.
Specifically for these two articles.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to read the verbiage of 1 and 2. by section. And then when we get to, because the proponents have supplied the proposed amendments, I was able to make slides for those proposed amendments.
Okay.
And we can deal with them in an orderly fashion as opposed to sometimes when they're made on the floor and now you're trying to like edit a slide on the fly or let everyone know what you're doing, and it gets super messy.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the proposed amendments are significant enough in scope that they're not a friendly amendment kind of thing. Not that a friendly amendment exists per se, but there's what we call Bob's rules, which is kind of a little looser Robert's rules, and you just kind of say, okay, is there any dissent to this, and if not, then that just kind of becomes part of it.
I'm going to steal that idea.
Bob's rules.
I hadn't heard that.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I wish I came up with it. It was gifted to me in college.
Had you heard that, Matt?
I've heard of Bob's accounting.
Yeah.
So regarding amendments, because having gone through town meeting 20, 30 times, AGs always get weird about amendments. And so you've got a copy of what the amendment's going to be, and that's...
Yes, and they will still have to...
Okay.
They will still have to turn that into the town clerk when when the meeting's going
Just
on.
because every AG, I've been involved with AGs, just not liking the word is versus are, over wording and stuff like that. So.
And so that's, again, that's kind of why I'm trying to do this like very orderly and why I'm taking on the responsibility of reading it is because like when we get to, I really, really wish I had my readers. I swore I was not going to use them again. Oh, man.
Oh, boy. So Keith, Laura's got a question. I'm not sure if it's to you or...
just bear with me 1 second, because I just want to kind of get an example of this. So when we get to section 4, as an example, no agricultural or farming activity conducted in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 111, subsection 125A, and consistent with Mass General Law, Chapter 243, subsection 6, shall be considered a nuisance. Agricultural activities are considered in compliance with applicable state laws and regulations, and according to generally accepted agricultural practices, shall not be deemed nuisances due to changes in surrounding land use. The right to farm law protects equally properties above and below 5 acres of land. So as I go into that, I'm going to say there is a proposed amendment that the last sentence, and there's a slide for this, the right to farm bylaw protects equally proposed above and below 5 acres of deeded land be stricken and replaced with the right to farm bylaw protects properties above 5 acres or above 2 acres by special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals used for commercial farming and properties of any lot size used for hobby/recreational/non-commercial farming. Is there a second to that amendment? So let's role play.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made, and there's a second. Is there any dissent to accepting that amendment? Seeing none, the amendment is accepted, and now there's a new slide that that does that.
A, B side, whatever. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
If it is not accepted, then I will allow for a proponent speech from the people proposing the amendment, and we'll go into it like it is a normal motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Two questions about submitting the amendments in writing. I know I've sent those by email to Lisa. Is that sufficient, or do you
No.
need a printed copy at town?
And we can go over that because I know like we have a meeting set up.
Separate. Okay.
No, that is not sufficient.
Yeah.
It needs to be in writing, handed at town meeting.
Physically.
Yeah, physically during the process.
And then the second.
That's not to say that it's not good to send it ahead of time as well.
Right.
You know, again, one of the things that I've said that I appreciate about this citizens petition in particular is that it was done early enough, and you came to me early enough that we're not making decisions on the fly for how the procedure is going to be done. That's when things get really messy. This is only going to be kind of messy.
The second question is on one of the particular amendments. We have two possible verbiages. Do we need to choose one of those? This is the one that has to do about the AdCom and replacing the being responsible for drafting and implementation with, and then we had two possible verbiages that we supplied. Do we choose one of those?
Yes.
Ahead.
And get it to me ASAP.
Okay.
That said, you in theory, I don't love this, but in theory, if Amendment 1 fails, you could then propose Amendment 2. In other words, if the verbiage, if the initial verbiage fails, and you're like, well, let's try this verbiage. I don't love that. It muddies already muddied water.
Right.
But that's an option to you.
And I don't know if it's appropriate to ask this question if there's any input from the board or from the town administrator or town council on, of those two verbiages that were proposed, if either one seemed clearer or more preferable, so that we can make that decision. But we want to work with you guys and to make sure that this is worded correctly and move forward well. So the two, this was related to amending the proposed bylaw to create an agricultural commission. We're looking to replace be responsible for the drafting and implementation of any livestock animal regulations.
So let me just interrupt you.
Yep.
Like, so this is not my meeting, but this is more about the moderator part of it. So if you guys were okay with addressing those questions after or have that on your agenda, then I would say do that then. I'm more like the procedural, like this is kind of what's going to happen and why.
Yeah. It's November 17th is Keith's meeting. He leads the charge. It's the people's meeting, so lucky me. You have to follow the charge of the moderator. So. Yeah, it's like, no, it's just.
So then.
Get him a ski pond.
Yep.
So then at the end of all of that, right, we make our way through all the proposed amendments. We make our way through the entire article. Then we would move to proponent speech, which I think will be necessary in this instance. Question and answer. However, before that, and I'm just kind of getting this out now because I always find that once you're in it, it's too late. So before we get into the articles, I'm going to look for a motion to limit question and answer to 20 minutes and debate to an additional 30 minutes with a speaker limit of 2 minutes each. If you can't make your point in 2 minutes, your point's not good.
Are you making any condition based upon like, new content versus the same content?
Nope. If you want to repeat what somebody else said, that's your God-given right, but you know, it'd be really great if I might even stand and applaud if someone says, yeah, I just want to echo what Lisa said. Thanks. Awesome. Like I will take the rest of that minute and 50 seconds and applaud you and just say thank you for, because what you're doing is you're being considerate of other people's time.
Yeah.
You're allowing the process to continue. So that if someone does have something new to add, they can add that.
Yep.
as opposed to, oh, I need to be heard.
Yeah.
So, which is valid. It is valid to want to be heard. It's just not efficient, and it doesn't. It's not going to give us enough time to get the multitude of viewpoints out there that may want to be out there.
Yep. One speaker per article, or you don't want the same person to come up and speak.
Yep. Yeah, and that's actually even in our bylaws.
Yeah.
And there's, if anybody wants to have a sidebar at some point about some of our town meeting bylaws that should be updated, I would love to pitch some of those, but there's just a few that like special town meeting is not quite the same as the annual, but as Lori pointed out in a separate conversation, the Mass General laws trump those anyway, but our bylaws should probably reflect those. Because, like when we were talking about reconsideration, I should be able to go to someone, and I can in this instance, and say, it is very clearly spelled out in our bylaws, that when that expires. So the folklore that is, surrounded town meeting of like, well, I could still do it at the end. No, you can't. Yeah, it's in our bylaws. We should be able to do that for all of our bylaws regarding town meeting, to be able to say, well, that's accurate, as opposed to, well, it's accurate-ish.
So maybe some night in I don't know, January, we can talk about the bylaws and changes you might want to make, whatever. We can.
Yeah.
Again, it's always good.
I like to do those kind of things at specials, just because annuals are usually so packed.
Yeah, it takes a little bit, though. You know what I mean? To review them and go through them and stuff like that.
And I'll tell you, you guys have the best town council you could ever hope for in regards to town meeting bylaws. He is a former moderator himself, and a fantastic resource that I know I've leaned on a few times over the years as well.
All right.
Bob Sullivan is on Article 5.
You're going to have to remind me what Article 5 was.
Water, sewer.
Oh, okay.
He texted me an answer, but since he's here,
All right. Hey, Bob.
How you doing?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Good.
The 132.
Yeah, so we had $32,000 in unexpected paving expenses for the water main leaks on Main Street. Normally we do those ourselves with highway, but those were just a little beyond our capabilities with what needed to be done to get those back in order. So that was a $32,000 expense that we didn't have budgeted. Then we had another $12,000 on the quotes that came in higher than anticipated for a truck that we had budgeted for. And then the rest of it is for filter rehab. One of the filters in the wastewater treatment plant needs to be rehabbed.
Are those important?
If you want to skip.
If I want to water ski. Nothing, Bob. I'm being a wise ass. All right. So are there any questions on kind of how we expect any of these articles to go?
It's like any town meeting. It's who shows up and who comes up and discuss.
I more mean like procedurally, like.
Who's in charge of decorum in the overflow room? Like, is it going to be just the masses governing themselves, or do we have an assistant, Keith? Or can Mike Fitzpatrick do that?
The assistant, Keith, is
What'd you say?
Lisa,
Me?
right?
I'll do it.
I think Lisa's the assistant, isn't it?
You have a role.
Do we?
Yeah, as Board of Selectmen, yeah. I mean, kind of.
You fourth on the pecking order because it's usually yourself.
No, it's always an interesting delineation, right? Because the once the Board of Selectmen submit the warrant, you're townspeople, right? So you have equal footing to everybody else in town. But that said, when there's questions and stuff to be answered, they're either going to go through you or through Matt in a lot of cases. So it is kind of there's some duality there.
You're asking who's watching over the other people in the other room?
The babysitter in the other room.
Yeah.
Basically.
What about one of the constables? Is that possibility?
That is.
We may have a
You
interested
got a volunteer
helper.
over there.
I know in the past when there's been an overflow room, there was an assistant town moderator.
I did, yeah.
Direct communication with the...
Yeah, I had appointed an assistant town moderator twice. And at the time, we kind of had like a precursor to Zoom. In my mind, I was thinking with Zoom, it wouldn't be necessary. That said, it's probably a good idea.
So you can appoint them that night if you want to, whatever, or...
Mrs. Menard's got a new job.
This is Menard's, so she's out of town.
So she can, she's shopping for a she shed?
No. She's celebrating her 50th birthday. So, yeah. And Mrs. Menard and I do not always work well together in that situation.
Well, you go to town meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
How we met, funny story about how we met was actually, we were both involved in college, and I had ruled her out of order. And while I was correct in ruling her out of order,
she's not here to.
She still likes to remind me.
This is being recorded.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
She will admit to this. What she had said was out of scope. She was ruled out of order. I was correct. What she said when she was out of order was also correct.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I've been saying that ever since. So,
Did it start with take your gravel?
Yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, back on track here.
Yeah.
Assistant moderators. I guess you can.
So anyway, yeah, I will look for an assistant moderator. But like I said, part of that is also just still trying to figure out the best way to have speakers from the other room if in fact that there are registered voters that wind up over there. So that's where we're at.
It's tricky.
Yeah. Tricky.
As Run DMC once said, it's tricky. Any other questions?
You got a question from the audience?
I have a procedural question for Keith.
Sure.
So
Well, actually, I'm sorry, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if somebody else, a third party, offers yet another amendment, they bring it up in writing, how is it chosen what order that goes in? So if somebody...
Yep. So those amendments would be treated as the other amendments normally would, which is that happens during debate. So when you are recognized, you say, I have an amendment that I would like to offer, and then we go from there. I would highly, highly recommend that any proposed amendments are given to me well in advance so that we can be prepared. And that might even shift the order of how they're given. The tough thing with amendments that are offered on the fly is in baseball, tie goes to the runner. In town meeting, tie goes to it's out of scope. So if I have to think about it for more than 5 minutes of whether or not it's going to be within scope, it's not going to be within scope, and the amendment won't be accepted.
That's my question. Thank you.
Good deal. That's all I have.
Anyone else?
Good.
Cool. Thank you, Keith.
Appreciate it.
And with that, I return the readers.
Thank you, time, Keith. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Go through the rest of the articles of who would speak.
You want
That.
to do that in the pre-meeting, the 30 minutes prior, or we meeting at 6:30?
We can go through, we can go through it tonight.
Do it tonight?
That way,
A little time to yeah.
develop
Okay.
a list to give the keys. Well,
Just. Yep.
so I'm taking the grant one.
You're taking which one?
So 3
Is
was,
Manerick taking the over?
Three is Ross.
4 was Mike,
4 is Mike. Yep.
5. Sullivan,
5.
or you guys?
Kelly would be 6, right?
Yep. Bob.
The overlay would be Manerick.
Kelly. Yep.
8 probably going to get passed over.
Yeah, and Cheryl will be there to speak on it if needed.
Matt, are you taking the 3 demolitions?
Yep.
10, 11, and 12 is Matt. And number 9, cemetery, it would probably be Sarah, maybe.
I'll do it. I have a problem.
Jump up.
I'm available if you want to stick one with me.
I might make you do a proponent speech just out of.
Proponent speech? I don't know.
Who's got 7? Who's got 8?
7 is Bob Manerick and 8 is Cheryl.
Tim and I might speak on 10. I'm trying to get that bill.
Hey, still tear down.
Bring the ball, so. All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yep. Hal, it looks like it's pretty much covered.
Yep.
Okay.
You get to relax, Hal.
I'll be in reserve.
There we go.
Yeah.
You bring the candy,
Good deal.
Right.
All right.
not peeps.
If we're good, we'll move forward. Number 9, the grant acceptance for the FY26 earmark grant, $20,000 possible votes.
Mr. Chairman, as previously noted, our legislative delegation placed, specifically Representative McKenna placed an earmark request into the budget that was approved. It was $20,000. And I'm going to read the exact language if I have it. Not less than $20,000 shall be expended for repair and maintenance, including asbestos removal from historic structures in Douglas. The governor of the Commonwealth withheld earmarked line items in the budget pending other budget conversation. She has released that hold, and the advice from Rep. McKenna was to sign the contract as quickly as possible to claim these funds and to get them expended as soon as possible, so they won't be scooped back, because the state budget is not hunky-dory. So that is our intent.
Okay.
That's a good job by the state rep. He does a good job for us. I make a motion that we accept the $20,000 grant that shall be expended for the repair and maintenance, including asbestos removal of historic structures in Douglas.
Second.
All right, motion by Tim, seconded by Ross. Roll call vote.
Quick discussion. So this is just the accepted grant. It hasn't been designated to a project as of yet.
Correct.
Fitzpatrick, aye.
Bone and I.
Davis, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Smith, aye.
There we go. All right, I'm going to skip over number 10. Just get all our edits to Lisa. Hopefully we'll maybe cover that on the 1st December meeting. I'm not blaming
Don't
myself.
doodle on them and give them back to Lisa.
Yeah. All right, next, number 11, meeting minutes, possible votes. We've got the
Meeting minutes, just for clarification on the
Yep.
last page under 15. We had a water sewer department brick building. They had a brief discussion about the article, and Matt Wojcik feels that it should be put back on the water sewer. It wasn't Matt, it was myself.
Okay.
So that should be changed to my name.
Yep, minor edit there.
I don't want him to get beat up on something I said. good with those?
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of October 7th as amended.
I'll second. Motion by Mike, seconded by Ross. Roll call vote.
Fitzpatrick, aye.
Bone and I.
Stevens, aye.
Smith, aye.
Davis, aye.
There you go, Hal. Good. 5, good. All right. Number 12, Town Administrator's Report.
Mr. Chairman, let's talk about money. As we make our way through the budget process, even though Jean's going to be absent for a little while, she's left some ideas behind, and we've been able to have our conversations with leadership at BVT, and I've started to model out the financial implications of the BVT lottery system, not just for the year approaching, but for the next several years, the full 5 years of the 5-year forecast. And it's a profound impact on the town of Douglas, because you're so heavily overrepresented that even a very gradual reduction of your total student population, the thing to remember is that a lot of the expenses that are on our assessment are allocated to the town of Douglas by a mathematical formula that uses the student population as the critical part of the formula. So you have 126 out of 1,257 students. You have 10% of an additional assessment of, let's call it 2 million. You get 200,000 of that. So even if you slide down to 8%, that slides down to 160,000, right? So there's a ratchet up effect of having lots of kids go, more and more kids go every year. It ratchets down almost as quickly because of the impact that student population has on all the formulas to allocate the costs. There's a wild card here, and I think people need to pay attention to it, which is the minimum contribution is determined town by town on the basis of DESE's magical formula. It's still kind of like trying to solve Rubik's Cube with only 8 moves. I mean, you really have to be able to follow their logic. I think after doing about 10 years worth of history, it's fairly clear that no matter how DESE allocates this 1 percentage point or 1/10 of a percentage point, at the end of the day, the share of the student population pretty closely mirrors the town of Douglas's minimum contribution. So that also will come down with student population coming down. So we got a little bit of work to do around enrollment numbers just to make sure we always meet how many kids we have at what grade level at the moment. But we're going to go from kind of shivering on our boots over 4.5%, 5% every single year, with some years spiking to double digits, to being actually under the Prop 2.5 pace. So, I'm obviously going to vet that math out, but what that does is it gives a tremendous amount of stability to the town's budget. And the only question that will remain is, how do we build a bridge from now to fiscal 29? I say fiscal 29 because that is really what we anticipate to be the first year that any additional economic development would come into new growth. So we're not counting the building permits. We're only counting the year it goes to the tax base, which would be fiscal 29. So for 27 and 28, we have to be thinking about how we build this bridge financially. I think for 27, we're in good shape. One of the things that was really special about Halloween was that was the last day for CRG to perfect its tax appeal. And as you know, we held back over $450,000 in the overlay. And I like the way Gene is thinking about this. That's a revenue expenditure, so it's on the revenue side of the budget. You basically we usually hold back $100,000. You just put that on the revenue sheet as a negative number. It doesn't factor into revenue available for appropriation for the operating budget. But it's still raised So when we set aside the year that CRG joined, the Cubes of Gilboa joined the tax base and they appealed their valuation, we held back, the total overlay was $650,000. And we have been unable to release that until all appeals have been exhausted, which happened this Halloween. Gene can release these funds in February, and so there's an alternative path, and I like the way she's thinking about it. You can release it to free cash, but then you'd be using free cash for the operating budget, which is the no-no, nanny-nanny, boo-boo. You're not going to do that. However, because the overlay is carried over from year to year and has a balance, running balance in it, you can simply zero out the allocation of the overlay and the revenue side of the budget. So instead of a negative 100,000, it's just zero. That negative 100,000 means that 100,000 is available on the appropriation side. So that's going to help us close the gap in fiscal 27. 28 will be a little bit more of a challenge, and we might actually think about using a one-time plug or a more significant operational change, which I'm going to convene my department heads that are relevant to the conversation, in a regional initiative that has been pushed my way now for a couple of weeks, and the economics are just really, really profound. So we have a pretty significant function that we could join a regional consortium, and because it's supported by the state through grant funds, we'd be eliminating all our spending on that activity for 3 years.
What's the activity?
I don't really want to get into it until I tell my department heads what it is. But it's something I've discussed before. Back during the override time, I had a whole bunch of options for significant reductions. Costs, and some of them didn't go forward because there were other factors that I had to take into consideration, whether saving money was more important than the operational benefits of keeping a program in place. Those benefits have disappeared because of changes that have been made to state statute. And so now we're looking at the possibility of doing things differently. But there's a lot of people have to be involved in discussing that, including the union, so I really don't want to get too deep into what that is. And if it's too good to be true, I want a chance to talk to the proponents of the idea. But so I think if fiscal 27 is well in hand in 28, I have a pretty good idea how to get from here to there without cutting any services to the people of the town.
What's the dollar number looking at?
For that initiative? Close to $500,000. All in. Couple of other things that have come our way, kind of nice. The town of Douglas, the Douglas Public Schools have been selected to go forward in the accelerated repair program. If you remember, the superintendent made everyone aware that he was going to file this application, and the select board had a vote to issue a letter of support. And we've never put this on the town meeting warrant because we still don't know if we're a winner in the grant competition and how much DESI will pay for this roof and window project of the primary school. But the fact that we've survived a lot of competition to this point is pretty strong proof that we've got a compelling case. So that's going forward now as a letter. Next step following this invitation into the program, additional information regarding the program, and vote language and vote requirements will be found on the MSBA website. So this is a process, and we can count on the superintendent's ability to follow it through. But typically it's a double-digit percentage of the share of the project that gets picked up by MSBA, so it's a pretty significant.
This is for the design portion of the project.
Yes.
Not the project.
And they're just looking for repair and replace, not altering and enhancing or just clarification.
The Commonwealth also engaged in a rural aid program through DESI, so this is an an attempt to focus direct aid to rural school districts, so with a threshold level of population density per square mile, as well as other budgetary factors. After all of the communities were taken into consideration, there were, I believe it's 55 that were selected to get some money. Douglas was like number 53 on the list. I kept. There's all the obvious winners, Gateway and all that. So it looks as if the town of Douglas Public Schools was slated to get $90,000 that they didn't budget. That's good. So every little bit counts. And the only other thing I want to announce, two things actually. One is this notice we got from National Grid on October 30th. Customers who are paying their electricity on a residential rate, if they have a heat pump, they're going to get a break on the delivery charge, not the supply charge. So the delivery charge is the part of the bill that stays with National Grid. So no matter who you select as your energy supplier, this is the part of, basically covers the cost of the wires, the substations, and all of the equipment. The delivery rate, you can save a lot of money. So if you have a heat pump, households enrolled in the seasonal heat pump rate could save as much as $540 over the course of the winter. That's a couple of beers. Some wings.
Yeah, there was.
So, not to be. So there's a process that you go through. I'll just announce this part. Customers with Mass Save supported heat pumps installed on January 1st, 2019 or later on a residential electric rate will be automatically enrolled in a reduced heat pump rate starting November 1st. No action is needed from customers. So customers not auto-enrolled or without a Mass Save installation may still qualify. You can apply once enrollment opens at the end of October 2025. Check National Grid's heat pump rate page website to find more information about signing up. So if you find yourself in that category, have at it. The town can't take advantage of it because we're not on a residential.
30 years, you can pay off your heat pump.
Yeah. Might be worthwhile to post.
You got other incentives to get it.
Yeah, it might be worthwhile to post on our website for some folks that have heat pumps, but I mean, the cost is. I mean, I think there was a state rep that was paying.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying you get $540.
Oh no, there's something. I know there was a. They're talking about
the heat pump's efficient down to 13 degrees. Then you go on to a heat element, so you can spin that meter right up inside your house.
Once they give you the rate, they give you the rate no matter how much you use it. It's not a sliding scale.
Oh yeah, stay with dinosaurs.
Distracting.
Second.
Yeah, 2 items.
I did have 2 items. Oh, the other is just to call attention. We've got enough to worry about keeping the place running to not worry about politics. We have to deal with facts as they present themselves. One of the facts of the world we live in is the United States government is currently in a budget shutdown, so there's no funds for normal activities. And one of the results of that has been some dispute over the SNAP program and whether benefits would be paid and whether or not cards would be recharged on schedule, which would have been November 1st. And enterprising attorneys general in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the state of Rhode Island had federal courts intervene and order the administration to release those funds. But there isn't enough money in the contingency fund to support 100% of SNAP benefits. Just so that people are aware, there are 608 Douglas residents that participate in the SNAP program. So it's about 7% of our population. And our job isn't to replace SNAP. What we're doing is giving people information that if they're low on benefits, if their card has been used up, there are options. We have 3 food pantries in town. I don't know if everybody's aware that we're all 3 of them. But there are other ways to avail themselves of what they need until the government can get itself put back together again. That's a significant concern with the holidays coming up and nasty weather. If LIHEAP, which is the heating assistance program, if that's also delayed, these things have disproportionate effect on certain people. We know from our childhood poverty statistics in Douglas that you may have any number of children on SNAP, but your majority of your population is going to be elders and maybe some veterans that are SNAP eligible. So the only thing I'll throw out there, and this is a little advice to public servants everywhere, if you're in charge of a program, don't go on the television and trash it, because it's your fault. So the Secretary of Agriculture is saying that SNAP is a corrupt program, but he's been running it for the last 10 months.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you got to step up and fix it if you think there's a problem. That's not a reason not to pay the people who are eligible for what they need. So, but we're watching it because we do know that we have, from COVID, we'd have any number of vulnerable households in Douglas. We don't like to leave them behind. That's the end of my report.
Cool. Keith, question from the audience?
Matt, is there a place where people can find out where those food pantries are? I'll be honest, I actually only knew of one in Douglas, so
So
I'd love to make sure that that's
I would refer you to the Adult Social Center and the director there.
Yep.
As a handle on where everything is.
Okay.
Yep. And they actually do a lot of good meals and hot meals and stuff like that, and a lot of things for the seniors down there. They gotta, I mean, I wish more and more seniors come in to realize all the services that are offered. I mean, but they got a good crew down there, so a lot of good things. All right, number 13. Any topics not reasonably anticipated in the 40 hours in advance? Any roundtable items, discussion? Make sure everybody gets a check.
I'm waiting for 14.
Yep. Get your checks to Ross. That's about it.
I guess I can make an announcement. Our first meeting for the 250th celebration is Thursday, November 6th, 6 o'clock. We'll be in the community room, the small meeting room.
Yep.
If anybody wants to tune in or join in, it's our first meeting, so we're just going to be kind of breaking the ice a little bit. I don't know what's going to be accomplished other than throwing some ideas around, but the public's certainly welcome to join in.
We're fun.
So, Mr. Chairman, with no other meetings of the Select Board in the intervening time, thank you to all our veterans who served our country on November 11th. And November 11th is the 100th anniversary of the laying of the cornerstone of this building. So,
yeah, no,
that's pretty cool.
Definitely. Kudos to our veterans all over. So, no, I do appreciate it and stuff, and I think the board does as well.
And the mason that put down the cornerstone.
Yeah, as well. All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Ross. Roll call vote.
Fitzpatrick, aye.
Bowman, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Smith, aye.
Davis, aye.
Thanks, Al.
Peace out, Hal.